Hey, hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Geoff. And I gotta tell you, you better sit down, get a comfortable seat, call your friends, call your relatives, because we've got a guest coming up today. It's going to do some amazing things to your spirit, your energy, just your whole overall perspective in life. So you do not want to miss it. I guarantee you that, right? And our mission with Conversations with Geoff is to bring speakers in like the one we have coming in from all over the world with different messages and different things that they can share with you, the listener, that know you're meant for more, that just can't seem to turn the next corner, just wanting to get that next advantage up. Oh man, impactful information, and then giving you some empowering solutions that you can employ in your life and begin that journey to living your purpose full out, right? And what I believe now, we take all of that. Now check this out. What I really get excited about even more is that we talk about something that is I believe is the most underutilized, underappreciated, and undervalued asset that we all have. And that's thinking, that conversation you're having with yourself about yourself. So I want you to check out how that applies in this conversation I'm having with our guest today, and take what we leave you that you can use and put it to work right away. Our goal is to give you something that you can do right now, right? For those of you that looked in the mirror and said, oh man, I don't want to see the person looking back at me. Give you something that when you look in the mirror tomorrow or look in the mirror later on, you're like excited to see that person, right? We all have those days, right? Anyway, I'm the host, Geoff Tyson, and I'm known as the Comeback King. And I got that name from, living life like many of you have, going through all the ups and downs in life, and keep moving forward no matter what. Kept moving forward no matter what the problems are. Kept moving forward whatever the disappointments are, just like many of you have done that. And you're going to hear in the story today with our guest that she's had the things that she's done, man. I'm sure she's had some comebacks that just blow your mind. So anyway, let me just take a minute and give you a highlight of her bio. Just a lot to share, so I'm going to spend just a couple of minutes on it because you want to just know who you're getting ready to meet. Listen, her name, Liza Marie Garcia, is the founder and chief operating officer of Now Publishing, based in Tampa, Florida. She's worked with hundreds of writers and authors in the company these first 7 years. Now reached important milestones. Hey, more than 60 books across multimedia platforms of various genres. Those early genres included business, leadership, entrepreneurship, mental health, health and wellness, and faith-based storytelling. And they made it work during the COVID time, right? I mean, 20 genres including business, brand books, memoirs, children's books, a lot of books, right? Publishing and things like that. Now, she was a former CEO. Oh, man, this lady sold out of Seattle. 5-time author herself. First book. Now, check out the names of a couple of these books, right? Never Drink Coffee During a Business Meeting. Wonder what that means. Right? And then we go on, and she got another one. My calendar is written in crayon. Oh, that's interesting. Top 25 change makers, and there's some other books she's done. She's also the distinction of founding one of the first professional service firms in telecommunications industries in the U.S. She was 27 years young at that time. She first worked for IBM, built a business, sold a business. She's also a marathon runner. Oh, man, anybody that has anything to do with running understands what commitment it takes to run a marathon. My wife did. I rode a bike while she trained. Incredible person. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, before I just continue to talk and all these great things, let me just bring her to the stage. Our next guest, my new friend from Tampa, Florida, Liza Marie Garcia. Here we go. Hey,
friend is right. Hello, Geoff.
How you doing?
I'm excited to be part of your conversation. I've watched many of your podcasts in the past, and I just enjoy listening to you.
Thank you. Well, you definitely, from checking out your background, are the person that we look for. Your gifts, your successes, your humbleness, and all those things that I read. I mean, you're just an amazing person. So I know you're busy, so we like to just jump right in.
Sounds great.
And we were talking about some things. Yeah, we were talking about some things before, and I'm just going to ask because I couldn't wait to get you here to ask you your book titles. We talked a little bit about that, and you'll get a chance to tell more. But what talk about that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I love the idea that you recognized that you liked them. They were intriguing. They were interesting. It was maybe a wordplay or something was there that caught your attention.
Yes.
So, in any business, the attention to detail, right? The attention to making something just a step above,
Yep.
the intention of, handling things maybe just a little different than the fray is super important.
Yes.
And I, just as a whole. So for absolute certain, the title of the book is so important. Now, there are some basic 101s out there that maybe people that are in publishing or are published authors themselves might know. And there are things like you don't have a title that has 12 words in it, that people say stick with 4 or stick with 3 or maybe 5 is the max. So there's things like that, that you do to put together a title. But the main thing for us is that we'll call it, usually as we're working with an author, a working title, even if the author comes with us and says, look, I want it to be this title. Okay, maybe 95% sure it will be that title, but what we like to do is leave it open.
Yeah.
As we work through finishing the first draft. Sometimes a better title comes up.
Yeah.
And typically we've seen where it has, and most of the time it comes up where the author is writing something and just happens to say, well, it's kind of a see-do repeat model. Or I was running this particular book that is called See, Do, Repeat, The Practice of Entrepreneurship. The author was a runner, and she said, I was running today and See, Do, Repeat. And we're like, perfect. In fact, we even helped her trademark that See, Do, Repeat model. Wow. So I love that. I learned it actually also from my publisher, because my first book, as you mentioned, has we can't say it because of the background, but it's called Never Drink Coffee During a Business Meeting. Yeah. And it has a picture of the Starbucks cup on it. This is 10 years ago about when I wrote this, because Starbucks headquarters was one of my clients. Okay. When I was in tech. So I love that you noticed that. And the anatomy at the end of the day, though, it's the title of a book has to do with the anatomy of the person buying the book, the anatomy of the sale, the color of the book, the title of the book has to catch their eye right from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, this is so good because there's so many people talking about writing books. There's so many people talking about teaching people how to do books. But I don't hear them talk a lot about this. So I appreciate you dropping these nuggets down on there. And then your own personal books. The title was cool. What part of your spirit, what part of you came out in those books, or what kind of led you to
them? Thank you for asking, and you're making me reach a bit, because I call it there's signature books, which are like the book that I, wrote, or any author writes on their own. Maybe it could be said that if they had 2 authors, it's still a signature book. And then what is very trending these days is what we call an anthology, but what the world calls is collaboration books. Okay. And I would say in the last 3 years, there's a definite uptick in these collaboration books. Typically, they are books with, I've seen 50 people. I've seen 100. I saw one person having a book with 100 authors, which blows my mind, because the max we've had is 25. And there's a lot to do with bringing together 25 people for one project. I don't care what industry you're in, let alone publishing, right? Right? No doubt. So these collaboration books, now they're very, a whole different type of book project. So we've had on our own for now publishing, now we're called CEO Book Publishing. I've been a part of, I want to say 3 of them. And what's fun about those is that's pulled a chapter from me on a specific topic. So one of the ones that I'm most proud of is a book that is called, now here I am, and I have it right here on my bookshelf. Wisdom Before Me. And basically it was a book for 15 women, and a woman in their 40s would write a chapter speaking to a woman in their 30s. And a 30-something would write to a 20-something. So it was very unique. And on that particular chapter, I wrote about my mentors when I was an IBM engineer, my very first job out of college. And I was very fortunate in that role to have 2 women, strong, silent, humble servant leaders that were my mentors. I mean, I'd be happy to have one. I had two of them.
Yeah,
and so I talk in that chapter about that. And then I talk in the chapter about how do I mentor women? And the number one word, we also had to choose a word, but my word was coachability, and it just is. We are never at a point where we are, know it all, that we shouldn't be learning, being coached, being mentored, and listening to it even. And I'll tell you, one of the things that's one of my weaknesses is I will sometimes come right out of the gate thinking, what is this person going to tell me? I have more experience than them. Are they really going to impart wisdom? Right? I need to stop it. And so usually it's in my spirit. And then I'll be like, calm down, listen to what they have to say. I call it seeding. Seed on it. And a lot of times my seed is through overnight. I'll have to, think about it, deal with it, let it settle with me. And they usually definitely have wisdom, and if I had just gone with my first, bull in the china cabinet, it would have been lost in me. So
that probably took some time to learn how to measure your behavior in that space. Right? I hope people are listening to that. Because people think we can't change, but sometimes we better. Right.
Yes. Hopefully God will, help us change in the way that we need to.
Right. Right. Yeah, we miss out if we don't. And then you're able to do that and talk about the results of having that relationship, and you never know when the magic's going to come.
You never know. And it doesn't say that he told us, we'd see the end of what we think, or that he would tell us, oh, you'll see why I'm doing this because of this. We're not. And that's where, the faith and the trust and I know it's going to be great.
Yep.
And so I'm good to not know, but that takes a while, takes a little bit sometimes. And it's difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when it's very heavy.
Yeah. Yeah. The heavier it is, the more difficult it is to let go.
Yes. Yeah.
Man, that's my experience in life.
Yeah.
Sometimes we hold on with claw marks, letting go with claw marks, right? The scratches all the way down to the very end before our hands are released.
1,000%. In fact, I just had this come up with a gal on LinkedIn. I don't know her. She reached out, IM'd me. She seems like a lovely person from the LinkedIn reading. I said, let's talk. So she scheduled a call. She didn't show up. Okay, that happens.
Yeah.
Then she apologized, scheduled another call. Didn't show up. And then she just apologized. And she said something like, I'm having a bad day. And I said, you know what, just call it a day and go to sleep. Sometimes it goes so heavy. And I've even in my own life and in my daughter's life, call it a day. It's been a bad day. It's really hard, but get the sleep and tomorrow starts anew, right? The new mercies and a new day. And sometimes it's so heavy that you can't even, even as a positive person I am and a person of faith and trust and knowing that it's right. Some days you can't reconcile that within the day.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't. And if you try, it just takes more energy out of you, takes more
energy.
And it's that, some say aha moment, some say other things, but sometimes it's surrender, as you were talking, the word surrender.
Yeah. Make some popcorn, veg out. Just stop trying on this day. Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah. Such great words to hear and not easy to practice, but the results are definitely worth whatever time it takes that you can learn that lesson. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's I know you're the author and you're doing all these things and all these egos. People, I'm just assuming, I'm assuming.
It's a great assumption. You got it. You're right on.
So, how do you, and this would be great for people to hear this because, we all need to learn how to deal with people, no matter who and how they come at us, right?
That's right.
And so I'm sure in your space, you've seen all kinds, but I want to help people understand that there is a way to deal with any kind of person. And particularly that one person that's kind of
or the 50 people that are, No. So to set it up, just to address it, I feel like, we're talking in our minds because I totally know where you're going, and just to, talk about that. So first of all, though, I've had some difficult times in my life, of course. And one of the difficult times in my life was when I was going through a divorce after 16 years of a marriage, kids and the whole thing. And I'll tell you, a lot of how I coped with it and got through it was the people that I was surrounded with. And it's not what you think. Like, first of all, I even wrote a post on it recently, and we've all heard of that. We are the 5 people we surround ourselves with. 100% believe in that. We are those people. We listen to everything they say, and it's there as a young person thing when they have, again, I'm a mom, so I'm always in that mom mode. But, when one of my daughters recognizes a taker, a friend that's a taker, and a friend that's jealous, and so that she's kind of hurtful, that kind of thing, it's, you can't have those kind of people around you because they do affect you. Even if you don't think they do, they do. So the surrounding people of the right people is important. And one of the things that happened for me was that when I was going through this really awful divorce, 2 of my very closest friends were going through way worse situations. One had a double mastectomy and had breast cancer last stage. She did survive, but she had that happen. And the other had a dad that was about 4 hours away from her that she dearly loved that got Lou Gehrig's disease. I mean, how much, right? So did I talk about my problems to either one of those women? Of course not. Right. Not even. It wasn't even part of that. And I didn't understand what a blessing that was. And I've seen that a couple other times. So that's the first way that you cannot let the smallness of life, the people that have the big egos and they're all about themselves and they're the takers, and there are, that is what I call the smallness of life. So it's good for you to stay focused on not that. And then the other part that I was just blessed with in how I was able to work with clients that have all varying degrees of egos, because most of our clients are C-suites, they're founders, they're entrepreneurs. Now it takes a healthy amount of ego and positiveness about a person to be a founder and to be an entrepreneur and to survive and communicate at that C-suite type. However, that ego shouldn't be everything to you. And there's no way, I believe, to get through this life if you are a taker and if you are not a person that has apathy and respect for others. I don't see how you can get through this world. I feel bad for a person like that because I don't even know that, and I know them. So I'm speaking on my own experience of knowing people like that, and I see they're unhappy. I see that it's just one. I'm just maybe what is it called? Speed bump on the road as they go to another one and run over that person or that, and I see they're not happy. Right. I mean, I can feel it. Right. I used to not always be able to feel it, but I can feel it, and I know the people that do. Yeah. So here's the fun part. Saying all that. Here's the fun part. Was that from day one in my career, I was being trained to be with the C-suites and knowing the way to act. And this is why. Yeah. So my first job, as I said, was with IBM. Mm-hmm. And IBM at the time owned a telecommunications company called ROLM, R-O-L-M, out of Santa Clara. Yeah. So I was actually hired by the company called IBM ROLM Systems. Okay. And I was in telecommunications as a programmer. Nice. So IBM would sell all the systems to the Bank of Utah. This would be maybe one account. All the phone systems, telecommunication systems to the Bank of Utah. And then they would have me as the software design engineer, that was my role, go meet with either the CFO that paid for the $100,000 plus system, which was a lot of money back then, or the CEO. Right. Or the CEO. There wasn't a telecom manager. There wasn't a data center. There wasn't an IT manager. Yeah. There wasn't any of that. None of that existed. Yeah. So here I was, this little, 24-year-old, I thought I was a hotshot engineer, learning from day one that culture from day one. And so I probably, met with 200 CEOs in my career in all different vertical markets that prepped me for, hey, you're going to now publish books for this type. So, and then of course, crediting IBM and the Big Blue and the way they conducted business, which I really like. It's an old school professional, way, everything from, it, Big Blue, everything from the dress to, and I remember someone told me this still today, how many years later sticks in my mind. They are paying X amount of money. You are representing what they paid for.
Yeah.
Because I was their first step in their first meeting. Yeah. So it was just that decorum, the professionalism, the respect, the, not trying to jockey, for a position or recognition, showing them that I cared about what they bought and that I'm going to help them use it the way that it was. Then they, started respecting me, most of them,
you delivered yourself professionally and all those other things. Didn't matter how young you were. It wasn't about the age. It was,
right.
You were already, you were just getting prepared for all the things that followed behind that, right?
100%.
And that exposure to the C-suites made me think about my early career with corporate America. And I wasn't a variation of CEOs with lots of contact with the CEO and,
that's right.
Right out of school and they spend time and all that stuff. And we get all this information. We can either keep it or give it away.
That's right.
We can either serve or keep it, and you've given so much stuff. I mean, how do you stay so full with all the giving that? I mean, since I've met you, it's been about, how can I do this for you, Geoff? Do these things for you. And you're just always just amazing that way. How do you stay full? How do you take care of yourself?
You know what? So both of my companies, from the tech company to the book publishing company, God kind of slipped it in there. I didn't wake up and say, I want to start a telecommunications company. I left IBM and then I was called back within 6 months and they said, we want to give you an account. Actually, it was the Kroger account. Wow. We want to give you this account, 60 stores in the West, but you have to say yes and you get on a plane tomorrow. So that birthed my company. Yeah. And then the book publishing company, same sort of way. I write my book. I'm still in tech, and I meet a gal that has this idea for a book publishing company. She had done all the research. I start promoting her, saying, go for it. And the next thing I know, we are starting a company. And so what I'm saying is I'm so blessed because God put me in this book publishing company, knowing the skills and the talents that I had been learning that he gave me, that this is where I could utilize it. So I do want to say that, it's not every day. I have my days where I call it a day and I say tomorrow will be better. And I definitely have my days, I was just thinking about this, actually. I've had my days this year. This year has been hard, this last year, 2023. But I had my days before there where I'd say, Jesus, I need your strength today. I have zero strength to go through. I remember praying that, and I still do. So definitely had those days, but more than not, I have the days that this fulfills me. And it's not the dollar. Yes, we are for profit and we need dollars. It's not the dollar. It's meeting someone great like you and saying, oh, I really want this for you. Or yesterday I met this guy and I'm like, we need to do this and this and this. And he actually has another publisher. And I'm sorry that he spent money, but he's moving away because he could see the difference and what we can do. So, the last thing I'll say, I don't like that saying that says, if you love your job, you never have to work a day. I don't, right? You never work. What is it? If you love your job, you never have to work a day in your life. Well, first of all, that's not true, because if I didn't need this job, I'd be on vacation.
Yeah.
I would not be, right? Yeah. I mean, I would be on vacation, right?
Yeah, you would not be talking to me.
I do love my job, but I mean, come on. If we are for profit, we have to meet payroll, we have to meet cash flow, we have to, forecast, we have to know what we're doing. And now I'm not trying to complain, but for the most part, I'm energized by the great opportunity that God puts in front of me, the people I meet, their stories, and I know I'm working for him. So that is the way I keep energized. It's a win-win symbiotic thing, right? It's not just on my end.
It is. I feel you when you talk about those moments of when it's just like, God, I have no strength. I've been there. More recently, we've been encouraged.
Yeah, loss is hard.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's inspiring to know, though, that they say this too shall pass.
It will.
And it does. And I believe that I used to be the one that would pretend like it never mattered. And that didn't end too well. my life. So we live in that pain. We live in that sorrow. We live through that pain. We live through that sorrow, right? And remember, enjoyment comes back so much faster.
Well, and when you were saying that, the only people that show it doesn't matter are the social media baloney front. It's all great. I learned that a long time ago where, it was, gosh, it had to be 15 years ago. I was a young mom. And I remember a woman boasting about her husband. And to be honest, I was like, yeah, I am kind of jealous. Your husband does seem better than mine. And then I also saw their complete fall apart of losing everything they had and divorce. And it was a long time ago, like I said, but it was a real stark message of, and a lot of people know this, look on social media, that isn't real life.
Yeah.
And it's not real life for anyone, because I haven't met anyone of a certain age that hasn't gone through some major tragedies or hardships or struggles. I mean, bless those folks that haven't. And maybe I haven't met them, but life is tough. Life is tough, and the world is tough, especially now. We have all this stuff going on, but it's not. It hasn't been easy. You look at the history of man. You look at the Old Testament, for goodness sakes. They're getting killed, and all their, the stuff is being taken. I mean, it's not easy.
It's not easy, and there's so many people walking around and suffering in silence. And I just had breakfast with my son-in-law's dad and his wife's friend of a lifetime. Her daughter at 37 years old. And this is not just, the world's coming to an end, but we're talking about life and people suffering sometimes. And her life led her to walk out into the highway and end her life.
Oh. 37.
37. Suffering in silence.
Suffering in silence. And then the poor 13-year-olds that do it because of bullying at school or something. It's just, it's tragic. And to get to that point where there's no out, the best thing for them in their mind. And I mean, I think this is mental health awareness starting. We've had books on that subject, and of course met people, and it's just, it takes me right to that, being grateful for what I have. I have two daughters that are healthy. I have two daughters that are going to college, for goodness sakes.
Wow.
Thank you, God, for that, and that. And, it's just, it's difficult.
It's difficult, and it's so important to connect to people like you, that are out there and giving your all and sharing the good and the bad, right? And know that no matter how bad it gets, it can get better, right? If we just surrender, take a break like you talked about earlier, and do all these things. So let's kind of move through. You mentioned something, and difficult divorce, right? And I too went through a divorce, and a lot of pain and things in that space. What is it that, and it's kind of work related. I mean, it's all part of work and living. What is it that you came from or came out of with that you can share that people that maybe in your space at that time of difficulty could use?
Sure. I'm definitely a person that I love that saying. This is one saying I do love, your rear view mirror is a lot smaller than your back window. So it's telling you, keep looking forward. Don't look in the back, at the back. And I'm definitely that kind of a person. I've always been that kind of positive person, probably my upbringing. Thank you, Mom and Dad. But so I really, after I got through it, and it was difficult, lots of wasted money on lawyers, lots of everything you can imagine, mediation, arbitration, trial, you name it. I was there and had to pay for it and be there. But I was telling it, my experience was somewhat unique because there was a lot of money involved. We had accrued assets and just a bunch of junk right now when I'm looking back at it, but a lot of money. And so because of that, I have a friend that's actually, she's still going through a divorce, and she has even more money than we had when she went through a divorce. And I advised her like 2 years ago, I said, just give him the money that he wants and be done with it.
Yeah.
And I know that's hard, and she didn't hear it. And now she's, she can't even believe it. And yeah. So my advice, first of all, is to just, the lawyers are going to get, everyone, usually knows this, the lawyers are going to get the money. And in my case, I remember thinking, it's okay, I'm rich enough, my ex-husband will get half and I'll get half. That's not how it worked. It ended up being that he got half and the lawyers got the other half. I had no idea. I had to learn it, So it's not worth it. Nothing is worth it if you know that it's done. But the other part I will say is that I really didn't know God when I was going through my divorce. And it astounds me right now that I don't remember praying one time for God to help me through 3.5 years. Now, if you had asked me, are you Christian? I would have said, sure. I Catholic, I go to mass, not every Sunday, but I go to mass. I do believe in him. I'm a good person. Yeah. And I would stand on, sure, I'm a Christian, I'm a good person. No one sued me in 18 years. I got like one demand letter from an employee that left months before she was supposed to get a bonus. And it went away. Nothing, all this. I'm like, oh, sure, I'm a good person. I did not know the Bible. I had never read the Bible. I didn't know Jesus, who he was. I didn't know the Helper, the Holy Spirit within us. I didn't know that. I didn't know God, our Father, at all. Yeah. So I am 360 degrees different. And I thank God for, even as hard as it has been since I've been in Tampa, but coming through my divorce and then going through to be where I am with today, with the love of my life, and with the Jesus and God that take care of every part of my life, including my professional life. I was not that person. So had I known now, when my divorce, what I would counsel someone is to stay in the marriage and to pray and let God solve it. Yeah. And God will, I have known believers that God will at a point say, nope, you are not to be a part of this marriage, move along, but you need that from God. Yeah. You do. And that's what I should have done. Prayed for my husband, prayed for my marriage, prayed for that. And even if it was miserable, let God handle it. And I didn't. Took it in my own hands and divorce. So I don't think about my divorce too much. So thank you, Geoff. Just kidding. Actually kind of came up yesterday. I was meeting with someone that actually wants to do a divorce type thing. So we were thinking about it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that, because it just struck me as something that was part of where we were going and how we overcome that. We talk a lot about it on the show about the power of the comeback, and finding of the blessings and the magic. Yeah, and the blessings and the magic in that, and you're living proof of that, and so thank you for being brave and courageous in that space, as always, man. So
you're so kind. I wish I need to pay you by the kind word. You're going to cost me a lot of money. You're so nice.
Well, yeah. If you want to do that, let's start.
Yeah, you're right. It's open. My invoice can be paid. Well, and what's great. I mean, I'd like people to know. You're talking about no matter what, it gets better. I mean, that is the book we're building right now. We're building a book that's titled Leaving Stronger Than You Started, and it's basically 20 authors that are giving one story in a chapter of that example. So for me, my faith is definitely a lot stronger than I started, no question, by multiples. I think those are important messages to get to the world. And that's, why we're building this book right now.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And that can I tell them that I have the opportunity to
You can.
We're excited. And it's exciting times, because I've had other opportunities and it just didn't seem right, and then this one came and the timing was right, and you of course made it even that much more encouraging to do. So we're
so proud. We are very proud that you're going to be one of our 10 male co-authors, and then we've got 10 female co-authors. They're going to love you. We're going to have an all hands on deck meeting Zoom soon, because they're spread out through the nation. But no, very proud to include you. It's going to be great.
Thank you. I'm humbly accepting that and really excited about that journey. It couldn't have been a better connection, in my opinion. So now, boy, there's so many places to go. I got to ask this though. Do you still run? Are you still in the?
So that's, you know what? It's so funny. And I was going to correct you. So when I moved to, so I used to run, as you said, you know, and I had an example, right? So I call him the best person I know in the world is my father. I grew up watching him run amazing marathons, so much so all like under 3 hours, all over the world. Like I think he ran Boston I know he ran 2 times, maybe 3, just amazing guy. Right. So I grew up with that example. So of course, you know, I'm like, I'm going to run a marathon one day. Well, so I did run one full marathon. I ran it when I was in Seattle, you know, trained for it. And it was the Las Vegas one, a bunch of half marathons. So I moved up here and I had just kind of started the sprint triathlons. So I'm a really good swimmer. I was on swim team. Okay. And then, so I just had to pick up the bike. So I trained for the St. Anthony's one. This is, you know, years ago here. And a few of my friends came up from Seattle. We ran it together or did it together. But the one thing I didn't do is train for the run because it was too hot. You know, according to me, it's too hot. It's too humid. So I hardly train at all. So I do horrible in the run. And I just got spoiled. So I stopped running. But I haven't run any. I don't even know if I've done something K here, but I am a tennis player from young, and I'm a major pickleball fanatic. Pickleball is my jam. 5 years or so. I'm dying to do a pickleball book. In fact, I have another idea of someone I want to start it with. But yeah, so no, I kind of call it lazy man exercise, my pickle and my tennis, because I'm not running. I know, but yeah.
Well, just knowing that, let's see what's going on here. Just knowing what it takes to see that, right? I mean, my wife was. I'm coming back here somehow. We lost video. Let's see. There we are. Technology, you know, we're still
technology.
Yeah. But I saw it, and to do one, I don't care if you never did another one, which you haven't, and with the half, it's amazing. It just goes to the determination and the kind of person that you are to do. I don't care how you finished, you know, it's just in the race by itself.
I finished.
Yeah, you finished. You know,
I kept running.
Yeah, and you kept running, and then my wife ran one, and she's run several of the halves, and I've run a couple halves myself.
Very good.
I walked.
13 miles is a ton.
Now, yeah.
A ton.
Yeah, so if you see 13.1 on the car, blow the horn.
It's great. Yeah. I had those on my car, and then it cracks me up, the ones that are 0.0. It's funny, right? When you see those, I just start cracking up. And it's so funny because I've never been like a bumper sticker person.
Yeah.
But yet the other day, but you'll love this story, probably within the last month or so, I go out somewhere and I kind of don't remember where my car is. And I see my car, but it has these bumper stickers. I'm like, yeah, that's not me. And then I looked I'm like, it is me, because now I have, first of all, when I bought it, it was a used car. It was the Jesus Fish. Okay, that's fine. So that was already on there. But then I had added the Tampa Catholic High School, where my daughters went to high school, on there. But then I also added the DUQ, that's parent of Duquesne University, for my first year, who's now a second-year college student. And then I added the mom Gator for my girl that's going to the Gators. And so I got 4 bumper stickers. Proudly, I'm fine with that. I'm like, I am. You know, be careful what you wish for, and be careful what you say. So yeah, but back to the, you know, it's. You know, I was interviewed probably 6 years ago to be the president of a pretty big company by the CEO, and it was an IT sourcing company. They were rock stars. It was a pretty primo position, and I got all the way up to a lunch at a very expensive restaurant with the CEO and I. So I was one of the top candidates, and I remember what he said, and he said that in his opinion, the number one trait he's looking for a successful C-level president, the number one behavior, the number one trait was discipline.
Yeah.
He said discipline, and that's right. And like you said, running a marathon, you know, I had those weeks where I was putting in 20 miles. Yeah. You always start off your workout with 5-mile run. You don't feel like it. I never felt like running. Honestly, I'd have to watch. Usually after 20 minutes, I'd be like, okay, I'm good. But I hated the 20 minutes, even when I was a pretty prolific runner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like anything. And we even tell this to our clients. In fact, I just said these words yesterday to a client that's coming on. I said, I know you have book fatigue. There is a point when authors have fatigue, meaning they don't want to read their darn book anymore. They don't want to proof it. They don't want to see our edits. They just want to say, do it. And we won't do it. We'll have the conversation with them. This represents you. I know you have fatigue. Get over it. We've got to continue the process and be disciplined. We will get you where you need to go, but you got to hang in there. And that's the discipline.
And that's probably the word that strikes me, and why the admiration is so strong in that space. And it's because my wife trained by herself. When she ran by herself. She didn't run in a group. And I would ride a bike with her sometimes, right? But she would get there and she would just be disciplined, amazing. So, and you hit the nail on the head, right? And it's coming from the C-suite perspective. Discipline creates consistency, and consistency turns it over, right?
That's right.
You have to be consistent, persistent, yes, but consistency over time.
Consistency, even more than, persistence or attitude or, desire. I used to have a shirt. I might have thrown it out because it's so old, but I had gained some lbs, of course, after my second baby and didn't get them off. And I'm like, oh, I got to get back. And it was when I was really involved. This is in Washington State. And it was something like training is the opposite of hoping. It used to be my favorite shirt, right? You can hope this, you can hope you get your MBA, you can hope you're a successful entrepreneur, you can hope you lose weight, you can hope you can, compete at a certain level. No, consistency, training, do it. I mean, there's no magic. Honestly, there's favor, but there's no magic. It's hard. We talking about, egos. We've had clients over the years that they don't always know all the stuff we're doing in the background. Like they don't know that we got them a great podcast assignment, but it took 10 no's to get the one, because we don't, sit there and say, guess what? We just pitched you, to this, and we landed one. And there's been ones that were, had a bigger ego and just decided that, we weren't living up to their standard. And they, people just don't get it. People want, snap my fingers, pay some money, everything works out. That doesn't work out for really anybody. I mean, look at Elon Musk and all that. I mean, the people that have gazillion dollars, they'll tell you that the money doesn't solve it.
They hadn't solved it yet.
Even,
He's got 128 billion that we know of. So
that we know of.
And it still hasn't solved it. So it's really about internally finding the peace and the spiritual connections and all those other things. So listen, I've almost had you here an hour. I'm sorry to keep you here this long.
No.
Amazing. I want you to let people know how to get a hold of you, and if there's anything you have going on that you want to tell us about now.
Well, you're so great. Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure. I appreciate it. It's been a fun conversation, and this is what I love about your show, Geoff. It's just fun, person-to-person conversation. So thank you. So yes, our company is called CEO Book Publishing. We just have a great merger, and our brand, not all of our brand is all set. So you can reach us and you can look at the books that we published on publishwithnow.com. So it's publishwithnow.com. That's our website. You can see our multiple titles of what we published. And I'm heavily on LinkedIn. So Liza Marie Garcia, and maybe I'll repost this. But you can always reach out to me. I'm always on LinkedIn, and I am me on LinkedIn is great. We are rocking and rolling. So we have a lot of different things going on in terms of titles that we're producing, from conventions to Barnes & Noble signings to our book coming up in September. We're going to release Leaving Stronger Than You Started. But just align with me on LinkedIn, and a publisher now. So I'm always available to help you out and maybe answer a question, lead you in the right way.
Right. And that is it publishwithnow.com?
Correct. Publishwithnow.com.
I just dropped that on the comments so people can catch up with that later. And I will tell you, people, she mentioned LinkedIn. This woman has over 20,000 folks in the LinkedIn community that she's developed over the years. So what's that mean? That means if you're like me and you're a LinkedIn retard, you want to make sure you figure out how you could capitalize on maybe some of the things that she can help you with in that space too.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? Same as you. I'm gonna, if I can come back to StreamYard, I'll put it in the chat here.
Okay.
And then it will go, anything's open. Where's that little StreamYard person? But yeah, Liza Marie Garcia is, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Gosh darn it, I can't find you. I've lost you. Just kidding.
So what do you want to leave us with?
No, I know I'm there. Go ahead.
Yeah, what do you want to leave us with? We talked a lot.
Oh gosh, I would say, yeah. I'll tell you what's been heavy on my heart, and I posted about it and I think about it, and I think I finally found you again. So I'll put my LinkedIn right there. So we with the CEO book publishing, we do C-suite books, we do entrepreneur books, but the third imprint is legacy or memoirs. And you know, people will meet with me and say, God's told me I have a book in me. I know I'm supposed to write a book. Other people have told me I need to write my story. I know I should write my story, and then they delay. And I don't know what you're waiting for, because do you know that if you can wait? None of us know if we can wait. And I want to say 5 without thinking them through, but over the years of 8 years, I've had at least 5 people that we've started their book and then they passed away. And that's a big deal. Yeah. It's a big deal. And, you know, don't wait. And especially if you're of a generation, maybe me and older, you don't necessarily have a legacy on social media like younger people do for your family, for your family's family, for your grandkids, for your great grandkids. There's nothing out there. And so if you write a legacy book, and we do a number of them, I just actually told a guy that's got his in Spanish, he's just written it to give to his family, and they're beautiful hardcover, beautiful books of his history. You know, unless you do that, how will they know about you? You know, how will they really know about you, and how can they learn from you? And so that's what's on my heart is don't wait, do it. You don't need to, there's a gazillion publishers out there, and there's a gazillion ways to publish a book. Just do it. Just do it. The Nike saying, but just do it.
Yeah, just do it. And it simplifies it, but it has such a powerful consequence if you don't.
That's right.
Woo! Hey, well, listen, my friend, loved it.
I appreciate. I'm writing down "just do it" because I can't wait to rebroadcast this. And I thank you again, Geoff.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great time, and you're welcome. And we'll talk later. Take care now.
Sounds good. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Woo! Hey, so as I told you from the beginning, guys, you know, you want to go back and re-listen to this thing again. Make sure you reach out to her if you're thinking about being in a book or an author, or, you know, LinkedIn and many other things around there. I mean, she's accessible, she's easy to reach, and she's got a plethora of things that can help you, that person out there, to know you're meant for more. That person is looking for some answers. That person is just not certain. Or you got it going on, however it is. It fits for everybody. So we thank you for listening to Conversations with Geoff. Remember to watch that Stinking Thinking. Go back and watch this again. Share this information and reach out to my guest, my dear friend today. I hope you had a great time, and we'll see you on the next episode. And remember, watch that Stinking Thinking and learn to love the person you're looking at in the mirror. That's the only face you got. We'll see you later. Thank you.